Momentum going. I'm going to invite a helper to pass these around to anyone. Yeah, you want to help? Pass these around to anyone who does not have one, and I think it's the choir. So if you could pass those around, grab one piece of paper and one thing to write with. And today we're gonna explore your imaginations. We're talking about treasure and dreams, and we're getting ready to let go of a lot of junk that we don't really want to talk about anymore, we don't really want to experience anymore, and kind of refocus on what you value and what you treasure. So we're just going to do a little fun exercise, because the first day I went downstairs, someone said, "Are we doing something fun?" And I was like, yeah, we're going to focus on the fun. So this is what we did in my first day of Sources of Creativity course that I'm taking right now. And I'll give you a little bit of music to write to. On one side, there's a writing prompt, and you can fill in the end of the sentence however you would like. And this will remain anonymous, and you will give it back. So we're going to practice letting go today. So don't worry about what it sounds like, but really tune in to what you wonder about. Because can anyone finish the sentence? Where your attention goes, your mind will follow. I love that. Where your attention goes, your mind will follow. Thank you. Did anyone not get one? Oh, yes, would you? Thank you. Where your attention goes, your energy flows, your mind will follow. So what you wonder about is important. You can write one thing, you can write three things, you can write a poem. But on the other side, I would like for you to fill in the gaps of these three lines and just create whatever you want. So here's some music and go for it. I think today maybe we needed some silence, because I wonder where the song is that I prepared. So this is going to lead into your thoughts and what you think about and what you treasure. So I brought a little treasure box with me today, because a lot of times people in our lives will be really focused on something and really passionate about something. And sometimes I wonder, like, well, why is that important? Why is that, I don't care about that. Why do they care about that? But that's not my business. So when I thought about treasure and what it means, what treasure is, I thought about how we treasure each other. And I thought about why I come here every week and why I came back here, because I feel treasured here. So I just want to take a moment and thank everyone for showing up, because when you show up for someone, you show them that you treasure them. And when I was told about Nathaniel and his mission, I was like, oh, that's cool. That's not important to me. But to show up for someone shows them that you treasure them. So I just want to thank you all for being here. And we will continue on with no music on this end. When you're finished, I would love for you to go ahead and put those in the offering baskets. And we are going to create a wonder wall.
And are we singing the children downstairs too? Okay. When all our hearts go with you, go enjoy our hopes go too. Don't be afraid of the darkness. Dark is the rich, fertile earth that cradles the seed, nourishing growth. Dark is the soft night that cradles us to rest. Only in darkness can stars shine across the vastness of space. Only in darkness is the moon's dance so clear. There is mystery woven in the dark, quiet hours. There is magic in the darkness. Do not be afraid. We are born of this magic. It fills our dreams that root, unravel, and reweave themselves in the shelter of the deep, dark night. The dark has its own hue, its own resonance, its own breath. It fills our soul, not with despair, but with promise. Dark is the gestation of our deep and knowing self. Dark is the cave where we rest and renew our souls. We are born of the darkness, and each night we return to the deep, moist womb of our beginnings. Do not be afraid of the darkness, for in the depth of that very darkness comes a first glimpse of our own light, the pure inner light of love and knowing. As it glows and grows, the darkness recedes. As we shed our light, we shed our fear and revel in the wonder of all that is revealed. So do not rush the coming of the sun. Do not crave the lengthening of the day. Celebrate the darkness, here and now, a time of richness, a time of joy. Those words are from Stephanie Noble. This community of care is created through our work and time together, our commitment to one another. This is our covenant, to walk together in loving fellowship, to share our hopes and values. As we pass these baskets, we thank you for your generous gifts, which support the work of this religious community and Unitarian Universalism in the world at large. As a reflection of our values, we are pleased to participate in the Change for Change program. And as I said earlier, the coins that you place into the basket this month and in January will go to the We Shelter program. And there are extra envelopes that say We Shelter if you would like to contribute more than just change into those envelopes for that specific program. With hearts of gratitude, we will now receive today's offering.
Today's offering piece was chosen if you've ever wondered how Mary may have felt in the weeks leading up to Christmas. I have traveled many moonless nights, cold and weary, with a baby inside, and I wonder what I've done. Holy Father, you have come and chosen me now to carry your son. I am waiting in a silent prayer. I am frightened by the load I bear in a world as full as storm. Must I walk this path alone? Be with me now. Be
This congregation is a community of ourselves. Its energy and resources are our energy and resources. Its wealth is what we share as we contribute to its life, we affirm our lives within it. From you I sing, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I sing, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. This time of year is full of joy and wonder and magic for some people, with the lights and the songs and the presents. And this week I was looking out at the dark sky with the full bright moon, and I couldn't help but feel this sense of awe and wonder. And that vastness is everything seen and unseen in a universe that we are a part of, and yet can barely even begin to comprehend with our finite minds. And I think about the Christmas story with the guidance from the stars, the story of Hanukkah with the oil lamp that just kept burning, Diwali in the Hindu faith, which is 5 nights of lights that took place in October. And then the solstice is next Wednesday. And so this is, for so many cultures and so many traditions throughout the world, this is a very sacred time. And it should be a time for slowing down, relaxing, reflecting. And ironically, this is also a very, very busy time for many people, with holiday parties and shopping for gifts and preparing for travel or for guests. And a lot of people, many people around us, put on a happy face, and we say this is a joyful time. And for some people, this is genuinely a wonderful time of year. And for some people, this time of year is not so happy. And sometimes it's a both and, like I say all the time. Maybe it used to be happy, and then life intervened, and now there's this sense of loneliness or grief or longing that just can't be fixed by putting on a happy face. And I'm sure some people have learned how to put on a fake smile, grit their teeth, and make it through. And my guess is that today in this room, there are plenty of people living out each one of these scenarios that I just described. There are people who are living lives and feeling joy and anticipation. And there are people, I'm sure, in this room who may be feeling some loneliness or some grief. And there may be some of us that understand that it's just kind of combined, that we might be feeling all of those emotions at the same time. And that's okay, because this is a sacred time of year. There is light in the dark. There is light in the shadows, and the cold nights contrasted with the warmth of the fire. And it all wraps itself together in one big ball of experience dichotomy. There is beauty in darkness. There is sacredness in the silence. At this time of year, the flowers have died, the leaves have fallen, the bears are already hibernating or marking their preparations to do just that. The rest of nature knows that it's okay to slow down, let go, and transform in preparation for the spring. It's us humans who have a hard time acknowledging that reality. We humans have a tendency to pretend that we're not part of any of that, that we don't need that slowing down and letting go. We just ignore our circadian rhythms and continue moving on and pushing through. And by pushing through, so to speak, we ignore a deep, integral part of us. We ignore the inherent human need to rest. There is a difference between sleeping and resting. And as I'm sure many of us know from experience, sleeping does not always bring the rest that we need, because they are two different things. If you find yourself sleeping more and still not feeling renewed, perhaps it's a physical rest that is needed, not a physical rest that is needed, but a mental, emotional, and spiritual slowing down that your soul is yearning for. So how do we do this? How do we rest our souls? We rest our soul by allowing it to stop being superficial. We rest our soul by letting our guard down, even if briefly. We rest our soul by releasing the facade that we are hiding behind and showing the world, and allowing our deepest inner being to shine forth and surface. We rest our souls by making time to take our masks off, if only for ourselves occasionally, because it requires so much energy to keep up those appearances. It takes so much mental and emotional energy to hide who we really are deep inside. And sometimes we hide ourselves so deeply that we forget who we are and wonder where that little divine spark went. And then the hiding place becomes permanent, and then we get lost. And then we get exhausted. And as a result, stop looking for that little pilot light that is always burning inside all of us. Sometimes we fear that if we let our guard down, if only for a moment, the tears will come flooding in. And if we allow ourselves to feel what we are so deeply pushing down and the tears start, they may never stop. And so we just don't go there. But I'm here to say, I have never met a person who started crying and never stopped. Because crying, grieving is part of the human experience. But so is loving and laughing and smiling again. And so many times it is all wrapped up together in one big messy ball of human experience. Hence the phrase, laughing through our tears. Slowing down, turning it all off, listening to that still inner voice is how we rest. The darkness serves a purpose. The silence serves a purpose. It allows us to get in touch with that inner place where we don't normally go on our own. But it is that dark inner place that has become a stranger to us that it is so important that we begin to get to know again. It's the place where we find our humanity. It reminds us that we're real. It reminds us that we're alive. We can't, we just can't live our entire lives on the surface of who we are meant to be, because that only creates a shell of a life. A few years ago, the kitten of the Jones household, in her exuberant joy, did a flying acrobatic leap right for the newly decorated Christmas tree, and it all went crashing down. And in the midst of the glass shards and the broken ornaments and the downed tree was a kitten who had found a ball of yarn. And all was well with the world, because what can possibly be wrong if you are a kitten and in the chaos of the world crashing around you, you come up with a ball of yarn? There really is no greater joy, because life is all encompassing. It just is. We run into problems when we try to pretend that it should all be kittens and puppy dogs. And we run into problems when we only see the downed Christmas tree and the shards of glass. And while those shards of glass may cut us, they also glitter and reflect the light in really beautiful ways. A few years ago, Ernie Steck sent this email to me with this quote about something called kintsugi, and I probably mispronounced that. But he sent, if a piece of pottery or ceramic has a crack, a repair can be made. The artist fills the crack with material that includes gold, silver, or platinum dust. As a result, the repaired piece is worth far more than the original. This term is called kintsugi in Japanese. Some therapists have taken note of this and adapted it to people with cracks who are broken by trauma. That all is well and good, but kintsugi requires more. The individual can be a more complete person than before the trauma. There should be some personal gold, silver, or platinum from the process. We get broken, but we can fix it. And so I think about, I think about the young people who are here with us today, hoping to save Orchard Mesa Pool. And some look at this pool and simply see a major expense that nobody seems to have the money for. And when we look deeper, or we take the kintsugi approach, we see that there is more to this pool than a blown out heater. This is where Catherine's father, she told me this on Wednesday, went every day to swim at the end of his life, to care for his mind, his body, and his spirit. And then he would sit in the hot tub with his friends and talk politics. And Catherine told me that when that pool shut down during COVID, that was the beginning of his decline, because he couldn't go there for his health, but he also was missing his friends, and he was missing that connection. So the pool is a place of connection for children who have birthday parties in the winter and can't go and do outdoor parties at the park or the outdoor pool. And they want to have parties as they are learning how to make friends. Because as children, we have to learn how to interact with each other and be in relationship to each other and make friends. And that pool is how children do that in so many ways during the winter. Nathaniel told me about a single mom who comes to the pool a lot to swim And she ends up taking a shower there because right now she can't afford to fix her hot water heater. We don't know what is going on in people's lives. And so when we see the lifeguards who are fighting to keep the pool open, they're passionate not because they are attached to a random old pool. They're willing to show up and speak up because of the beauty and the value they see beyond the pool. The human stories of connection, relationship, value, and meaning. They recognize that the loss that will be felt by the individuals and the community at large if the only indoor pool in Grand Junction is shut down. And so as we go back out to the macro perspective of beauty and awe and wonder, the reminder is that there is always more than meets the eye. And that's what these young people are fighting for. And as I think about it, the point for all of us is to be able to look out into the larger infinite perspective and be filled with awe and wonder and the vastness of what we are all a part of. And then it's for us to then be present and show up in the microcosm of our own lives in the long run. With the world stop, in the long run, would the world stop turning if the Orchard Mesa pool was shut down? No, we'll all still be here. We're all still part of this vast universe. But does that little pool in this little town, in this little state, matter? It does. It matters to this community as part of the micro. And that is worth standing up for and fighting for and showing up for. And we all, every one of us, have things in our lives worth standing up for and fighting for. And this is where the awe and the wonder come in for me. I came across a quote on Facebook today about humility. And I don't know who the author is, but I loved what they talked, this perspective on humility. The true way to be humble is not to stoop until you're lower than yourself, but to stand at your real height against some higher nature that will show you the smallness of your greatness. I'm going to say that again. But to stand at your real height against some higher nature that will show you the smallness of your greatness. We stand at our full height and claim the power that we do have, the power of choice, the power to take action, and the power to make decisions for ourselves. But we also put our personal power in perspective by seeing that there is a higher nature, a power greater than ourselves that is vaster and more powerful than our individual selves. We can think of ourselves as a brilliant star, significant yet small compared to the endless expanse of space around us. I love that. What a beautiful understanding of humility. And so today, I invite us to reflect on the fact that not everything this time of year is all glitter and glory. It's not all happy, but it's not all sad. It doesn't have to be all dark. The reason we have light is because we have dark. And a candle's lonely flame is invisible in the bright sunlight. It shines brightest when the night is at its darkest. So it's good to acknowledge that many of us are raw this time of year. And it's okay to be raw. It's okay to be grieving. But within that raw pain, there can always be joy. And within the loneliness, there can be the peace of solitude. And within the regret, there can be hope for new beginnings. Because within the darkness, there is always light. And I had a chaplain student that for his certification wrote these words about his theology, and I want to close with them today. He wrote, "Life is like a book. Some chapters are happy, some are sad, and some are life-changing. But if I do not turn the page, I will never know what the next chapter holds." And so as we sit with that contrast between light and dark, we're going to close with a beautiful meditative song that comes from the Taizé tradition, and it's called Nada de Turbe, and Joanna is going to kind of show us how to do this.
First verse in Spanish, the second verse in English. First verse in Spanish, second verse in English.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.